So welcome back. This is my one of my #1 apiaries in chestnut land here. Alicia's just going to take a pan of the apiary and show you around over there, but you can still got all my best hives there. What I've been doing today is these nukes that I've made in the spring, I've transferred into big hives. So this is the last one to do, and I'll show you a little video in a second of what I've just done. But these were nukes I made up in the spring, and there's a few original hives here that survived the winter. They're already obviously bringing in honey, and these ones are now going to be put into 10 frame hives, same as the one next door, and they're going to be bringing in honey as well. But the beauty of this, the whole thing is just to explain this, is what you can do with bees that are really cooking on gas. So I've got lovely new queens from last year that are put into these hives. They'll fill out the last 2 frames instantly, because when those bees, when the helicopter goes over, I'm trying to talk, there it goes. Because when you put those nukes into a 10 frame hive, they instantly fill out. Within 2 or 3 days, they fill out the 2 frames either side, the 4 frames either side, bang, because 1 frame of brood is approximately 3 frames of bees, we say. And then instantly the bees go, right, we need more space. And when there's a flow on, they instantly go up into the super. So it's worth me doing that, because I've got 3-4 weeks of this flow ahead of us. So I'm hoping that each one of these that was transferred, like here, was transferred into a hive. You can see the activity of bees in the front and here and here. They're all really good. They will give me a super full of honey, and then 2 weeks time I'll come back and check them, or in a week's time, see how they're doing. If they need more space, I'll give them more space, a second super. The existing hives will probably give me 3 or 4 supers if the conditions are right. But we have had very little rain, and we have got generally dry conditions now, so we'll just have to see how it goes. If it's windy and cold, which it doesn't look like it's going to be, we might not have a very big chestnut flow. But I'm as ready as I can be. As I said to you before, there's not a lot I can do now. All these nukes that I made in the spring are now basically in hives. The other hives I've got in my home apiary that I've split are just growing, and so are the mini plus that we've split. So there's not really much any beekeeper can do at the moment other than do sort of early summer checks. Checks there's no queen cells. It means taking all your supers off and going around from apiary to apiary doing that. But at the end of the day, we don't have much swarming in the summer, because the bees kind of know it's the end of the season. So this is really the last lot of work, and it's actually a lot of work here, because we have to take the nuke off its stand, put it on the ground in front, get the hive back in place where it was before, clean it out a little bit, put the new frames in, transfer the bees over, check they're all good. It takes a good 15 minutes each hive. But so we've done this whole apiary today. There's about 20 hives here now. I think we've transferred 14. So this potentially is a really good apiary now. And it's not just a good apiary now. These queens are young, and they'll be good for next year. So I'm hoping now, well, I'm back up and running. I've got all my numbers back up, and everything I make from now on is going to be for next year for nukes. So next year I'll cover any winter losses I have this coming winter, which I hope will be less, and then I'll be able to sell nukes in the spring. And that's how it works. So I'll show you this little clip now, and then you'll get an idea of what we're doing. It's a straightforward transfer of a nuke into a bigger hive, a 6-frame nuke into a 10-frame hive. They explode, they fill that, they go into the super, and they give you honey in the flow, we hope. But it does give you some idea of how prolific these bees are. The frames of brood are just amazing. The bees are just amazing, and everything is peachy, like the weather. Enjoy. Bye for now. Okay, so these are some of the early nukes I made from my queens that I had overwintered. And I'm a little bit late in transferring these, because our flow starts this week, but they should have gone in this week. But you get here, and the first round of brood is hatched, and the queen is laying. And if you look in this box, you'll just see how prolific these bees are. These were a 3-framed split I made from early hives in mid-April, and we're now just the first week of June. But you'll see how prolific it is. Have a look at this. This is absolutely full of bees. So it just shows you how good you can have it when you're ready to make splits at the right time. Absolutely packed, too full, and you end up with frames like that. full of bees, full of brood. But now I'm going to give these space. They're going straight into a hive. The flow is on. The brood that's hatching now, there's at least 3 frames of hatching brood both sides, so that's 6 frames of bees for a start. So what I'm actually going to do, that I've never done before, is I'm transferring these into a hive, obviously, so they need space, but I'm also putting the super on. So they're super nice bees. Absolutely no problem picking them up, no gloves, no smoke. And we've gone through this whole apiary. As we get frames of brood like this, this will all be hatching out in 2 to 3 days. Just look at that. Absolutely wonderful. They've got honey on them. And if I find a frame at the end of each end that hasn't, that just stores, I give them that space that I've showed you before. And these hives were just sitting here from my winter losses, so I'm making up almost all my winter losses now. And I've got nukes at home. There's our queen. Gorgeous queen. Every frame is full of eggs and larvae. This is the second hatch that she's laid the whole frame up. The other side is still hatching. And with any luck, this colony will give me a little bit of honey from this year, maybe a super if I'm lucky. That'll give me a split at the end of the season, and it'll give me the bees for over winter and for next year. So by just making a little nucleus colony last summer, and I mean just a mini plus nuke to overwinter, it's given me the possibility of recovery of your losses. And that's what it's done just by being a little bit forward thinking, planning. Okay, I lost hives, but I got mini pluses to regain. And I've actually got rid of a lot of my old stock that was pretty unproductive anyway, you know? So who's to worry about that? It's just all good. It's a little bit of work. But when you see those bees like that and those frames of brood, absolutely fantastic. Full of nurse bees. So they'll just build out now, clean out these old frames I put in. I've got some old frames we saved from last year that were clean. There was nothing in them. No wax moth in them at the moment. And these hives are in. These nukes are in, done. I can't space that one. I don't like to space brood. I would like to put a frame, an extra frame and space this out, but I can't because that brood needs to be kept warm. So you have to leave it as 5 to 6 frames in amongst the brood nest. There's nothing you can really do.